Welcome back, guys. This is Vishu from SavageCamp, and today we are going to look at the top command. So if I run top minus v, it is going to give me the version of top. So even though I call top, it is giving me this proc ps space ng. Just ignore that. This is the actual version of top that you're using. Now if I run top, you will see a lot of data, and what you will notice is this portion is always changing, and this is changing continuously by itself. This is nothing new. This is how processes are running in your machine, and top will give you an overview of whatever is going on. So the first thing you should always look at in top is this section. How much is the percentage of CPU that is being used right now? So this one gives you idle. So if it is above 90, that means that there is no load on the virtual machine that you're using. If it is less than 10, that means you need to kill some processes to unload from the CPU. So let's go over what these are. Well, this one is the command that is being run. So sh is a shell script. So a shell script is being run. And then you can see which user is running it and the process ID of that process. So this process ID uniquely identifies any process that is running, and you can kill that process if you want. In that way, you can free up the memory. Now, these three things are over. This one is the percent CPU and memory. It is telling you how much percentage of the CPU a process is using while it is running, and this is percent memory. Now we will come over this later on, but right now let's go over this. So this is telling me the current date and time. Actually, it is just telling me the current time and the uptime of this machine and the load average. This is the average of all the CPUs. So there are three averages: 0.24, 0.25 and 0.16. Now if it means 0 point something, it is okay. Make sure it is not like in double digits, because this is average load across all the CPUs. So I think this is last 15 minutes, last 5 minutes and last minute. That is how this load average is distributed. You can see the task that is running, total task, the task that is running, how many are sleeping, and 0 stopped and 0 zombie. Now let's come to the important part. So 3.0 or 3.3, if you see this, this is seconds. So it is using 3 seconds to run US. What US stands for is user space. So the CPU is spending this much time on running user's process. And when you see SY, it means nothing but the kernel space. So CPU is spending this much time running things that is being executed by the kernel. 0.0 is nice. We are going to make a new video on what nice is, but we'll not discuss it in this video because I don't want you to get confused. 90 or 89.9 is the idle time. 0.0 is the wait time. HI is hardware interrupts and SI is software interrupts. Interrupts means that the CPU is running something and some other process has interrupted it to run itself. So it's pretty low, so this is good. And 1.8 is ST, which stands for the steal time, which is the time that is being lost because we are running a virtual machine. So this is not that important while debugging. Well, we have memory over here, and this is very important. If your server is running out of memory, you will see it over here. And if you see, it gives MIB, which is megabytes. And if you want, you can do a Control E and change this. So I want you to notice these two lines. When I do a Shift E, it is going to change and you will see it turned into gigabytes. So it's easier to read like this: 1.7 gigs of memory, 0.1 is free, 0.9 is used. And once we use all of our memory, it will turn to swap. So we have covered this. The main thing you need to look at is the idle time, how many processes are running and how much swap is being used, which is 0.0, which is extremely good because we are using our memory and we have not ran out of memory. Now these are the processes. PR is the priority, 20 is the lowest priority, so it doesn't really care when it runs, and 0 is the highest priority. So 20 means like it's fine, it's just running whenever it has time. And this column stands for nice. We are going to cover nice in some other video, so I don't want to talk about this in this video. We have VIRT, which means the amount of virtual memory that all the processes are using. So this one is telling how much virtual memory is being used, and this one is telling how much resident memory is being used. So virtual machines sit on a different hardware from where they pull all the resources. So one hardware can have 10 virtual machines. So this column virtual is telling you how much memory is being used by the virtual machine, and this column is telling you how much memory it is taking by amount of, and this column is telling you how much memory it is taking from the residing hardware. So the residing hardware is giving this virtual machine this much memory. SHR is the shared memory by the process, and S is the status of the processes. Percent CPU is the percentage of CPU being used by this process, and percentage memory is nothing but the memory being used by this process. So I think this is a very good overview for top. The main things you need to look for is the idle time, if it has run into swap or not, and how much memory is being used. This will show you the top processes. There are certain letters that you can type, and this will show you in a graphical way. I just typed M for memory. It focuses more on memory, but we will cover all those things sometime else while debugging. But this is a short overview of top, and I hope you guys understood this, and I will see you guys in the next video.